And so this is our company, Paradise Park Ventures. We say we have a new vacation for the new normal. And this is our pitch deck. The high level details are really what you need. Hey, we got $1.5 million worth of bonus depreciation, and it costs you $1.5 million to get that. Now on top of that, you're gonna make about 20-30% ROI. Here's our disclaimer, regular disclaimer. This I call the bottom line up front, the bluff bottom line up front. So that says all the details. Required investment, $1.5 million, and it has this up here. This property has a cost segregation quote. Our JV partner will save $1.5 million of bonus depreciation in 2023, and that costs them $1.5 million. So it's a dollar for dollar tax depreciation. And the thing is, they can use this 1.5 next year. They can use 200 of it this year, 200 next year. I don't think it expires. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. What we're offering is 25% JV equity plus the dollar for dollar depreciation benefit. And just for why the actual cost seg benefit is $1.7 million. And so we get to, as the managers, we divide that up and distribute it. And so we're just going to give the dollar for dollar to the investor that comes in.
What is JV? Joint venture?
Joint venture, correct, yes. So on this investment, we're asking for the commitment here, a 5-year commitment. We expect to refinance the property in 3 years. So a refi, what's really great about a refinance is whenever we go to the bank and we've brought up the NOI and we pull out a refi, that's a cash out refi, just like you do on your house. So we take the cash out, that money we get to distribute to our investors, and they do not pay taxes on it because it's not income, it's debt. Because it's a refi loan. So the proceeds from that refi loan, that's debt. Anyway, it's really cool. That's like a double tax benefit. First, they're getting this 1.5 write-off. They're getting the other tax benefits of depreciation that come along with holding real estate. So expected value whenever we sell this. So what we use is a 10 cap. So that's a capitalization rate. And the 10 cap is how we value properties in the industrial commercial world. We look at the NOI, which is the net operating income, and we multiply or we divide that by 0.1, which gives us a 10 cap. So this asset is expected to be valued at roughly $11 million. So stabilized means we built it, we got it all running, and we have a consistent cash flow coming in from it every month. That's stabilized. The expected net income on this property, about $140,000 per month, is what we think to be the net. And we have a target ROI for this of 20 to 30%.
So that's $140,000 net, not just revenue.
Per month.
Wow.
So this is an 80-acre park. We plan on this being, it has 75 units right now. We're going to expand it, 75 more units. And we'll get into more of those details in a minute. But this is the bottom line up front. Our story is about the baby boomers. They're calling it quits, and you hear about the silver tsunami or the great retirement. And so as the boomers are retiring 10,000 per week right now, for the next 5 years, it's going to be 10,000 boomers retiring per week. 50% of the mom and pop businesses, small businesses in America are owned by the boomer generation. So that means 50% of the businesses in America are changing hands. 50% of the small businesses, they're changing hands in the next 5 years. Either people are retiring, their kids, they're selling them. Some people are just shutting things down because there's so many boomers retiring at the same time. Their kids don't want it. Their kids want to be YouTube stars. They don't want to run an RV park.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why we come in and buy them. Anyways, that's what's happening. That's our specialty is upscale RV park investing. We don't do trailer parks. We don't do long-term. We're not low-income housing. We're not workforce housing. We're hospitality. We're a hospitality industry, short-term, vacation. So no industry that we've seen has so many problems like the boomers. The boomers have these old business processes, fax machines. They're writing things down on ledgers. Those cause a lot of mistakes and it slows everything down. They don't book online. They use fax machines to get some of them to get their reservations. They don't take it online. They'll get an email from online, and then a manager has to call you back. And it's just really slow, really inefficient. And so we come in, and what we do is we fix all that. So the industry, let's talk about the industry a little bit. 2020 resulted in the RV industry churning out more product than ever. So here's a really neat stat that we like. Wholesale shipments of RVs, 600,000. And that's a 40% increase over 2020.
Wow.
So in 2020 or in 21, they shipped 600,000 units. In 21, Ford shipped 700,000 F-150s. That's the most popular vehicle on the road. Most popular vehicle in America is an F-150. So you can remember later. You can think every time you see an F-150 on the road, there's an RV out there that matches it. There's that many RVs out there. So whenever somebody's on the highway and they see an F-150, they're starting to think. Thor Industries, largest producer, they've got a backlog of orders. They did 18 billion. Winnebago, big numbers, 33% increase. Here's another good one. Estimates of more than 53,000 new RV sites will be constructed across the nation in the next 5 years. So there's going to be 53,000 RV slots built. So we're in a growing industry. This is what happened during the pandemic. This is camping statistics since 1985. You can see it's fairly steady, growing a little bit, dips before 2010, and then it goes up. 2015, it starts to get more popular. 2020, it really starts to spike because of the pandemic. And then what happened after 2020? A lot of people thought it was going to slow down. 21, even more. So here's 2020, there's 21. So it keeps growing. This recreational vehicle boom keeps going. And what we say is the boomers retiring was throwing gas on the fire because all these boomers want to retire. They're pulling their assets out of their house. They're pulling their money out of their house. They're moving into the risk-free rate of return, and they're downsizing. They're getting into RVs. So that's a big deal. So here's some of the problems in the industry. It's fragmented. Most of the people who are doing it are mom and pops. So they don't have any kind of best practices, no standard procedures, no kind of procedures at all. And so that means that institutions aren't interested. They don't want to get involved with RV parks because it's institutional money is not trying to flip or improve or value add. Institutional money wants to buy stable cash flow. So the institutions aren't looking at it. The owners don't use online booking, which, like I said, those old practices, they're booking on telephone calls, faxes, emails. It's very inefficient and they're losing a ton of money. Owners don't use dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing is the key to our private equity roll-up play because we have a platform. It's an online booking. It's basically the same as what you're going to have at Hilton. Whenever you go and book at the Hilton, we have a white labeled, very similar software package that does almost exactly the same thing. Whenever you book, you get an automated email, automated SMS text that says, here's your booking, here's your confirmation. The day that you arrive, it automatically sends you a text that says, here's a link with a video to show you how to get to your site. Later on in the day, here's a link to order firewood. We already have your card on file. You just click this link. We're going to order firewood for you. Now the manager gets a text, says, take firewood to spot 3. So we've got it really integrated like that. It makes our ancillary revenue really high. It makes all of our revenue really high. And the owners, they just don't use it. And let's see, about 80% of customers say they will only book at places that do online booking. And about 80% of the owners do not use online booking. Only about 20% are even using online and dynamic pricing. But this dynamic pricing, what that means is that at 50% occupancy, the rate raises 10% per 10% occupancy. So it's just like when you're going and you wait to the last minute to buy a flight and it costs more because there's only a couple of seats left in the van. So we have an automated system that does all of that for us. It's revenue management, it's yield management, it's revenue balancing. All of that is all integrated in software and automated for us. So we've automated that out of our work schedule. And then the other big thing is the owners don't reinvest in the asset. A lot of people, they bought 20 acres whenever they were young and excited, and they thought we can only afford to build 10 acres. So we'll build 10 acres now, and in a couple of years when we make money, we'll build the other 10 acres. In a couple of years, now they're making $150,000, $200,000 a year. And they're like, why would I double my workload to make an extra $50,000 or $100,000? I'll just keep this amount, I'm fine. So they just don't ever improve it. So we find a lot of them that have value add. Parks today are what storage was 25 years ago. And that's a really powerful statement. A lot of people that invest, they understand what happened to storage. It had a private equity explosion, the same thing that's happening in RVs right now. And we are on the front of that wave. We're way ahead of everybody else. A lot of people are just getting interested. And people are paying us to fly to Miami. They're paying for our flights, putting us up in a big villa in the Keys and taking us out fishing on a yacht so that we can teach them about RV investing because they don't know anything about it. But they're like, all the apartments aren't returning money. The hotels, the office buildings are losing money. They're doing capital calls on some of the apartment syndications. They're saying, hey, the money we were supposed to pay out to y'all, we have to do it as a capital call back to the company. And so people are trying to get out of those assets and they're looking around and they're going, I got these 5 assets. I got this one weird little RV park over here. They're paying me every month. The hotel's going down, office is going down, single families going down. Everybody's having a harder time except for RV parks and mobile home parks still kicking off tons of money. So anyway, that's what's happening. RV parks are what storage was 25 years ago. And Ian Bernstein, it's a good, interesting guy for you to check out on YouTube. He's got a couple of videos. Anyway, they buy RV parks. And so this is a quote from him. RV parks are what storage was 25 years ago. So we call this the Paradise Solution. So these are the problems: fragmented, no institutional money, owners don't use online booking. Here's our solution: express check-in. We collect electronic signatures, contactless payment, while we share automated guest messages through text and email. So what I was telling you about before, whenever you show up that day, you get an automated text. This is welcome. Would you like some firewood? Just click here. We're going to have it delivered. You don't even have to pay. We got your card on file. It's all taken care of. So that's that express check-in. Point of sale management. Instead of having a POS system on site and people taking money, we're completely cashless. Everything is through the automated software. So all of that goes into revenue. All of that ancillary revenue is in one place and it's all together. Billing and auto pay. So it's just like Airbnb. People pay us beforehand. And so that's all rolled in and taken care of. If we do have, we'll probably have about 25% long-term. That's what we're projecting, that we want to stay at 25% long-term, which is 3 days or more. And that means that we set that in the software to where you can only book 30 days on 25% of the place. So we can set that in the software. Revenue streams, we add on the revenue streams, a lot of the stuff we were just talking about. And it's marketed automatically when you get there. So we call this the Paradise process. We look at 10 to 20 properties per month. We try to find the ones that fit exactly into our strategy. We want to be saying no most of the time. So the way that works out is every deal that we wind up actually pulling the trigger on is like this one. They got crazy good benefits, 20, 30% chance to 5x the money of the investor. So we're probably 2.5, 3x with the possibility of 5x. So that's what we try to find. We go and find RV parks, like I said, that have a value add. We look for a draw to the area. So we need a college, a casino, a lake, a river. We need some big draw to the town or the area. So for Natchitoches specifically, this is a picture perfect Hallmark type town. It's got like a French Quarter, a lot like New Orleans, call it the baby New Orleans. They've got a beautiful river running through town. It's where Steel Magnolias was filmed.
Okay.
So there's a ton of people that travel there. They have weddings there. Our venue, RV Park, has a wedding venue. So we go and find these places that have the draw and they have a good capability to expand. And then we go in and we improve it. So most of the assets, they have little to no financials. This one specifically, the farmer who owns the RV park, he just runs all of his businesses all through one account, a couple $1 million a year, all his herds of cattle, his land, his taxes. So we don't even have financials. We're just we're going off of the fact that we know that he's charging. So we plug that into our spreadsheets and get all that information. And we have what he's currently making. We currently estimate he's making, and this is what he says, $50,000 per month. So this project that we're talking about, Pecan Orchard, makes about $50,000 per month right now. And we estimate we can at least double, possibly triple that within the first 6 months. And that's simply by
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. So that's what the 500,000 CapEx is for. We're taking an investment of 1.5 million. So the 500,000 is the CapEx. That's the capital expenditure. That's what we're going to spend to improve the place and bring it up to the money we're talking about. So we create our own financials. We comp the average night and on all the competitors. That's how we come up with our comp rates. And based on the value add potential, we look at it and we don't move on properties without the potential to 5x our investment. So most of the time we're looking at 2.5, 3 times the investment with the possibility of a 5x. That's one of the things we look for in our properties. Our goal is to refi any debt and return all equity within 3 to 5 years. We have a long-term emphasis on selling portfolios to private equity. Remember how I was saying private equity doesn't like mom and pops, like stable cash flow. They also like people like us that go and buy mom and pops, fix them up, put them on a platform and get them stable so that they can just buy stable cash flow. And we'll be selling off portfolios of stable cash flow within about 5 years. Our overall goal with Paradise Park Ventures is to buy 150 RV parks over 5 years in Texas. And that'll it'll be a $60 million raise, and we'll lever that at anticipated 75% LTV. So we'll be getting 75% debt and 60 million we're going to raise in equity. That's the bigger long-term goals. Let's talk about Natchitoches. This is how it's spelled, but it's pronounced Natchitoches. It's Steel Magnolias was filmed there. They have a beautiful Christmas festival of lights. As a matter of fact, the last 6 weeks of the year, the RV park is already sold out because everybody's coming for this Natchitoches Christmas. They've got a lot of wilderness and outdoors, hunting, fishing, tons of it in the area. And here's the downtown. You can see the tourism slide. You can see the downtown area. It's very much like New Orleans. It's a very touristy area. Here's the RV park. It's already got 75 spaces and it's in a pecan orchard. So it's filled as long-term, 100% occupied as of April 1st because they have, and we have a waiting list because they have 3 pipelines being built in the area. Pipeline workers are there and they rent up these spaces. So our 25% will probably be rented up with oil field workers. Pipeline workers. So it's 70 acres of raw land. Only 10 of the acres are built out. That means we've got these extra 70 acres. So we've got plenty more room to develop more resort spots, cabins, everything. We got just plenty of room. It's 80 acres. Already has this beautiful putt golf, and we get 7 ponies come along with it. So we're going to be offering pony rides and having the ponies up in the front. And there's a huge area in the front. We're going to be putting teepees. And those are pretty cheap. They cost about $5,000 and they make about $1,500 or more per month. And they don't have a bathroom, water, power, a teepee. They pay $40.
So you rent out the teepee?
Yep.
People pay to stay in the teepee.
Yes, they do. They love it. It's called glamping. And they love it for Instagram. They put it on. So all we pretty much run is a power. So there's no water, sewer. They have to go to a public common restroom because they're camping. They pay $40 per night and these things get booked out and steady. So that's what's going to be happening in the front. Here's the general store. It's brand new, never even been used. So we have on site is going to be Nicole, and she's the one that found the deal, brought the deal to us. She's 25% equity partner in the deal. And so she's probably going to be going out and either renting this out to somebody to come and bring in and have a little general store, or she'll be running it. It has a wedding venue. This wedding venue should be rented out for $2,000-$3,000 per event. He's renting it for $750 right now per day. And so we think it should be at least $1,500, possibly up to $3,000. And because it's a wedding venue, look at it, it's beautiful. Built this amazing brick outdoor stone fireplace. It's got this gorgeous patio with lights over it. Anyway, it's a really beautiful area. And he did a really nice job of doing it, but he just makes way more money doing it as cattle. And it was more like a hobby for him. And he was like, we thought it was going to be a retirement hobby. And it's just not, it's a job. So this is where it is. It's right off the Highway 49. This Highway 49 is very popular. It goes all the way down to Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans. So this is the main highway that people take from Texas, Oklahoma. They're going to take this 49. And so that's where the RV park is. This is what it looks like. It's got 5, we'll call it 10 acres, but it's got 75 RV spots now. Here's some of the details. Purchase and construction. Here's what we're going to spend the money on. We're going to spend $1 million to buy this land. We're going to spend $75,000 on a clubhouse, and you can see the rest of the expenses here, what we're going to spend the money on. We figured in a 10% construction overrun, which is pretty standard. 1 year debt service reserve, 1 year working capital. So we've figured all of that into the loan with the construction costs, total construction with overruns, total purchase puts us at the 1.5 million.
Right.
And here's the breakdown of the details. This is what it's currently making, 51,000, and this is what it's making it from. Here, this is their current rates and what their occupancy is, and that gives us 51,000 per month. That's correct. Phase 1, the first thing we're going to do is add boondocking. Now, the manager on this project, Nicole, she's been doing a lot of social media work with boondocking groups. So there are schoolie groups, which is school buses, people that convert school buses. And there's a whole group that's not being serviced at all. RV parks don't want to mess with them because if you did your electric yourself and you go plug into my system and break my system and now I have no power for my whole entire RV park, just don't want to take the chance. But a lot of those people will boondock, which means they have their own generator, they have their own solar, they have their own storage tanks for sewer, water, all that kind of stuff. And so they will come and stay for a week or two because they don't need power, water, sewer. They just need a place to park, and they'll use the bathrooms, they'll use the pool, they'll use the facilities, but then they'll go and move on Anyway, she's really tied into all these communities that cannot get into regular RV parks. And just advertising, we allow schoolies, we allow boondocking, that just puts us in a whole nother level of, because it's, you want to be what people search for. So if people search boondocking, there's only going to be a very few of us that come up. So she knows how to capture that market. So we're pretty excited about that. Adding on the boondocking and making it short term and bringing in the TPs and all the CapEx that we're going to spend should double the money. So that should be about 100,000 per month. So that's what we're projecting phase 1. Phase 2, we're going to take the NOI, this over $1 million, about 1.2 million per year of this monthly 100,000. And we're going to take that and go back to the bank and get the cash out refi to be able to build phase 2. So we'll take the NOI to borrow to get it up to 170,000 per month. And so by doing that, we're going to add on 75 RV spots. So we left it at 75 long-term because we have the oil people, and 75 short-term with the boondocking. And we only did the boondocking at 75% occupancy because it's probably not as popular as the others. That gives us still 170,000 per month. Oops. The refinance. So whenever in 3 years, whenever we start trying to refinance this property, we're going to go to the bank and we're going to show them, hey, here's our yearly NOI. At the sales cap, it's worth $11 million. 60% loan to value on that 11 million is 6 million. The JV share of the refinance, they're going to make 1.2 million when we refinance in one whack. And their monthly income should be around $40,000. A 25% equity share should get you $40,000 per month.
After phase 2.
That's after phase. That's, yes, correct. Here's the details of what we're going to be spending the money on per month. Comes out to 21,000 per month as our estimated costs to run the place. Here's the expenses in phase 2. We expect to have an 80% margin. So this is what our mission statement, our core values, we roll it all into something we call the Paradise Pledge. And so we have the Paradise Purpose. We provide a home away from home while our guests escape their everyday lives. So we have the Paradise Properties. We create properties of lasting value using superior design and amenities. So one of the things we say is that amenities drives rates and occupancy. So if we want to make more money, we got to have higher rates or more occupancy or both. And the way to do that is provide the amenities. Paradise people make the difference, so we build up our people. We've already committed to investing back into the people that work with us, and that'll be in education programs. Paradise Profits, we thrill our capital partners with investor-focused technology from the inception of our company. So we use something called Cash Flow Portal. And Cash Flow Portal is it's an investor portal, so it has our pitch deck, all our sub docs, all our data room, everything is there for them to dig through. So we can just send a link. They can pop on there, they can look through the information, and they can actually invest right there. So whenever they push invest now, whenever they push invest now, they get an email with sub docs, PPM, operating agreement, everything they're going to need to see. They DocuSign. Whenever it comes back to us, automatically it sends them the wiring information. So it's, like I said, automated for us. We want to get things automated. We want to put in the technology, and we want to have the least amount of people making mistakes, and we want the technology handling it.
Yeah.
And so Paradise Places, we bring paradise to the communities we build in and community in the places we build. Our commitment is to a company or a 501c3 called Bike the Blue. And Stephanie is the, what would you call it, director of that 501.
I saw that.
Okay. So yeah, that's Bike the Blue. And what that does for us is buying bikes in a tourist area for the cops in the area. It gets us a lot of notoriety in the area, gets us a lot of really goodwill from the politicians, all the decision makers in the area, because we're just buying bikes and giving them to the cops.
For them to ride on, or?
Yep. So these are bike
Police
patrol
bikes.
cops, police bikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the bike patrol cops were buying their own bikes. They have old, crappy equipment. It's a government position, so they have government equipment, and they don't always have the money to upgrade it. And so Stephanie met some of these bike cops, and they're usually in tourist areas. So where we are is a lot of times tourist areas. For example, Natchitoches, Stephanie's already been in contact with the chief of police there, and we're probably going to be donating bikes to them, probably 4 right off the bat. And so that's one of the things we do as far as our Paradise Places. And we'll be looking for more programs like that to get involved with and implement. because we have this as part of our, like I said, this is our core values. This is our mission statement. We just call it the Paradise Pledge. The cast of characters, Stephanie, and here's her background, Johnny Boy McGaugh. And I really...
Who's that guy in the picture? He's handsome.
He's good looking, huh? So I like to, I'm a little bit like really bragging about John because it's true and it's important for people to know. And a lot of people don't get it until you put it in their face and let them know. John raised $10 million, which is worth $100 million. John. So he did that already. And that's a big thing that I like to talk about. He's already done that. He's in 8 syndications right now. He's either the lead LP or he's part of the GP. So he's a manager in at least eight projects now.
Yes.
So we lean heavily on him. That's one of the reasons also. He's 51%. He's the decision. He's the top. He's the last chairman of the board, if you want to call it that. Anyway, I like to always point that out because it's true. Here's me. Veteran. Got some experience. My big thing I did was in Hawaii. I was buying raw land and selling it on payments. And so I have an automated system. All this automated that I'm talking about, I did that in Hawaii. So I have 50 properties now that are there and they're on autopilot. I'm getting, my accountant is doing my books today and she's going to send all the money and it'll just be in my account today. So that's automated, all with the same kind of technology. The long-term property management software that I use in Hawaii is very similar to the short-term property management software that Stephanie's going to be using.
Okay.
So that's my experience, how I came into the team. On the team, we're actually an investor mastermind, if you want to call it that, an investment fund mastermind. We met this young lady in there, her name is Nicole Bordelon, sharp cookie. She found this deal, she brought it to us, it was already done.
So this is the Nicole that's down in Louisiana?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so she's going to be moving on site. She actually has rental properties there in Natchitoches.